Class, welcome back. In stage 2 of project number 6 in Photoshop, we're mainly going to be working with correcting small problems with lighting, exposure, and white balance. Most of the time I would actually use the program known as Photoshop Lightroom to attempt to fix these, as it opens it up in a much more friendly environment for photographers. But you can also do this inside of Photoshop like we're about to attempt. And it's pretty useful, especially if you're only having to edit one-off images straight from the camera. Now, the reason we have to come in and adjust the lighting in a lot of photographs is because when you take them in the camera, especially with digital cameras today, they don't always come out like you see in the viewfinder. Sometimes they're a little bit darker, sometimes they're a little bit lighter. And Photoshop's great for adjusting those and really making the images pop. So the first one we're going to deal with here is this buffalo.jpg file. Again, you can find this by going to your menu folder and just opening up buffalo.jpg from here into Photoshop. And the first thing you'll notice is, this looks like a great dish. We have a surf and turf with vegetables, and it's supposed to be very colorful with the different flowers on the table and with the different colors of the peppers and the color of the lobster here, but it looks kind of grayed out and rather dull. It doesn't look all that appetizing. So to fix this, we can use, again, using the adjustments filters under our image palette to really make these colors shine through and bring out some more vibrance. So first we're going to do is work with the brightness and contrast. To get there, you're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. And here, make sure you do have the preview options checked so we can see what we're doing. And you see we have the two sliders, as you probably would have guessed, Brightness and Contrast. Now, to give you an idea what this is going to do, we're going to change our brightness setting to 35. And although it doesn't look like it did much, it did bring it up quite a bit. So I'm going to change this back to 0, and then the 35. So you can see, and then I want to go to 50, and then 100. So you can see as I pull this up how it's making the image brighter, or you can pass in a negative number, like negative 50, to make something darker. For this project, we're going to drag this up to 35, or just enter that there. And you can see now this has some great light. We got some really white whites over here, and we got some really dark darks. And you want to make sure that your image is a balance of both of those. But it still seems a little dull. So at this point, we're just going to change the contrast slider. Now, I've personally met a lot of photographers that would boost this way up to something like 60 and really push that contrast. But for the sake of the project, we're going to move that to 10, just enough to enhance it so it looks good for print. Personally, I would probably move this object probably somewhere around the 40s range to pull out those lights and darks a little bit more. And that's it for this image. We just want to make sure we have some great color set up in here, just so you can see the difference. This is after, this is before. So again, before the changes, after the changes, and you can see how much more this image pops and how much more vibrant it seems because of that. All right. So next, we're going to work with correcting contrast and tonal ranges with what are called levels. And for this project, we're going to open up the chef.jpg folder. Again, to do that, just go to File, Open, and chef.jpg. Alright, so a few things to notice about this is we have a really nice contrast of white whites and dark darks, but it almost feels like everything in this middle area is being left out. We don't necessarily want to get rid of how white the chef's coat is, but we really need to find a way to bring this up. And if we try to use brightness and contrast here I'll show you what that looks like. So if we try to do like our last project and bring this up, well, great, we brought the brightness, but now we're starting to blow out some of our image. And if we try to up the contrast, you can see that just makes the problem worse. Or if we try to do, we try to take it down, it kind of washes everything out, and that's really not what we're looking for. So a better way to handle this is to use to show the histogram panel and to work with levels. So we're going to go to Window and Histogram first. And what this is this shows you your total tonal color range for your photo. So it looks kind of odd. It's like a giant color graph. We're going to expand this out and show the expanded view. And now you can see as I look at this photograph, I can actually look at different levels, and I can see what the mean is, standard deviation. All this is a fancy way to look at how the different colors are balanced in your image. So you can see how your reds, your blues, your cyans, your greens, your middle gray tones are all balanced. And you can see the taller they are, the more vibrant they are on each end. So on your left side, you're going to have all your dark colors, and on your right side, you're going to have all your whites. So this is actually the reverse of what a normal color curve should look like. Usually you should have kind of the same size lights and darks, and have it be pretty level across the middle to be optimized for print. So in the histogram panel, we're going to make sure that this channel is RGB, and so here you can really see the distribution of all the tones in the image, and you can see, again, going from darkest darks to lightest lights over here. Now we see this little warning icon. We just want to make that go away, just so it's sourcing the entire image and not just part of a map. And from here, we can kind of get a good idea of what we need to do. We need to kind of bring these levels down a little bit and work with those and kind of bring these up on the end. So to do that, we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to Levels. You can also go to this by clicking Command L on your keyboard or Control L if you're on a PC. So I want to open up the layers panel, and you can see it's the exact same histogram we see over here. But now we have this 0, this 1, and this 255. Again, 0 represents your blacks, and you can see the more that you push the slider, the darker the image gets. Versus the 255, which represents your whites, and the more you push this, the lighter and more blown out the image gets. And of course, in the middle, you have your midtones. So these aren't as drastic, but they can really either wash out your image or make it just way too dark. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this first gutter to 1.75 for your midtones. And you see, this brings us in some really nice light in the background that we didn't have before, but it also slightly washes out the rest of the image. So to adjust this a little bit more, we're going to come in. I'm going to come to the output levels. And you see the higher I push these, the lighter something's going to get on the dark side, and on the light side, the further pushing the darker or more grayed out it's going to get. So I'm going to push these lights just a little bit to help fill in the area beside the soup bowl. And then I'm going to push in the darks just a touch to give it some good contrast. And that's, for me, this looks really good. I can still see everything that's going on here in the background, but her whites aren't completely blown out, and the food is still nice and vibrant. So I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to save this image and move on. And that's it with this project. Now, for the last photo in the stage, we're going to be mainly working with exposure. So to get that file open, again, we're going to go to File, Open. And this time we're going to go to the chicken image, which is right here. Alright, so let's open this up. Alright, we can do away with this histogram panel for now. If you ever need to come back, you can just always click this little graph panel right here. So this isn't really a case of where something is too dark or too light, but it was actually shot out of the camera underexposed. This means that not enough light was let into the photo, and so Photoshop has a great mechanism for helping to adjust this by using the other lights and darks inside of a photo. So to adjust this, we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Exposure. Image, Adjustments, Exposure. And we're actually going to use our panel over here. We want to make sure that the white point eyedropper is selected. And what's great about this panel is you can select a black point, a middle gray, and a light. So we're going to select the light first, and we're going to come up here, and the lightest spot on our image is either right here at this glass or right here at the edge of the plate. I'm going to go with the edge of the plate, and you can see how it came in here and boosted my exposure by a certain amount, and also changed my gamma correction based on my selection. Alright, and now, again, with these eyedroppers, the way they work is if you click something with the black eyedropper, it's going to shift the point you click to black or 0% luminance. So, to show you what that looks like, I'm going to come down here and select this, this point at the bottom. And I'm saying that's my absolute black, and to push everything to that absolute black. Here you can see that almost underexposes my image more, so we're going to undo that. And the gray point also Does the same situation for your midtones. Now, the gamma correction slider right here does adjust your midtone some more, so you can see I can boost it up, and that makes things darker. I can boost it down, and that makes things lighter. What we're going to do is we're going to move this to 1.25 and kind of bring the whole image up a little bit. And then we're going to use the offset slider that lightens when dragged to the right or darkens when dragged to the left the shadows and midtones of the image. We're going to change this to... Let's see, it's not going to be very much. We're just going to do negative 0.41. So you see a little bit of the slider goes a long way. So we're going to do 4.1. You can also type in these values here, and you can see that pulls out some really nice lights and shadows. So I'm going to click OK. And just like I showed you before, we're going to go kind of back and forth here. Again, this is... edited. This is non-edited. Edited. Non-edited. So you can see how even what seem like small adjustments when you're working within the Photoshop panel can give you some huge gains when you finish editing the image. Now at this point, make sure everything's again saved to the WIP folder, and we're done with the stage and ready to move on to stage 3, where we talk about color correction.